Welcome back, Pioneers, to the second episode of the Cryptocurrency Exit Plan and Strategy Guide brought to you by the Pioneer Academy. In this one, we'll be talking about mindset, our 3 key steps. We'll start out with what I think is my favorite and most important aspect of investing. This will be the foundation for the rest of our exit strategy guide. We'll be breaking it down into 3 key steps. Step number 1, managing emotions. Step number 2, positivity and gratitude. And step number 3, manifestation. So when it comes to mindset, we have 2 emotions: fear versus greed, bull versus bear, buy versus sell. We know this can really take over the sentiment of the market participants, especially when mainstream media will get involved and cause this to become quite euphoric. This is something we need to take note of, because this is something when the most market participants join the party. They join it at the worst time, or they sell it at the worst time. So when a market is bullish, we need to actually look at that and counter what the average person is perceiving it as. And that's very important, because we need to manage this while we're exiting this market. We want to look to get out when everyone is looking to get in. And since we're focusing on an exit strategy, it's important to take note of when a market becomes saturated with greed. This is an indicator that we should get ready to sell and get out of the market. So I've got this Wall Street cheat sheet, a chart that we've gone over in some work I've done before. For anyone that's new here, this is the psychology of a market cycle, and it's something that we need to take note of. You know, it shows a roller coaster, an optimism, beliefs, thrill, euphoria, and this is the point of maximum financial risk, the point where the market is typically overheated and it's time to try and get out. Thrill right here is when people tend to usually jump in after it's optimistic, after it's hopeful, after the disbelief phase, where they probably sold the market lows. So as it rolls over into these complacency, anxiety, these negative denial, panic, capitulation, and anger, depression stages, we start to curve back up again, and the cycle repeats, rinse, repeat. The moment to buy down here in depression and anger shows us the maximum point of opportunity. And this is something us sophisticated investors need to pay attention to, because this is a buy signal. Okay? And right now, I believe we're somewhere in between this belief and thrill stage. We've already passed the optimism, or are entering optimism now. Remember about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, in March of 2020, when Bitcoin was around $3,000 and everyone was freaked out and no one was buying? And then we recently saw it hit $69,000. This is very important, because we're actually quite far in this bull run and we've made it a long way. And I'm looking at this time horizon in a very macro view, not a short-term view. We know that here was a moment like in 2018 when no one talked about cryptocurrency, and it was boring before it went euphoric again. So we know that people have been in this market for several years. Some have just got in. I started my investment journey predominantly in 2019 as a venture capital long-term investment. And then 2020, the greatest financial opportunity of our lifetimes happened. And it's allowed me to have this time frame to build a fundamental investment thesis and a long-term approach, a Warren Buffett style investing approach to this market. Knowing what this technology is about and what blockchain is ushering in, I knew that when we had this pandemic, because of my base knowledge of everything I've known on the world stage and studied for years, I knew that it was the best time to buy. It was the most scary, when there was blood in the streets. And then during this euphoria that we had of April into early May of last year, that was definitely a signal to start taking profits before we capitulated back down into May and June, July. Before September brought us ultimately back to where we are now, in a trend reversal on the charts. So, something I want to remind you all of is how this is a cyclical pattern, and it's never going to be able to be timed. I've also got this Wyckoff price cycle that shows you oversold and overbought distribution and accumulation areas. Something I wanted to bring up as well. We want to remember these markup and markdown territories. This would obviously be a overbought, a distribution, a crown top, etc., while we see an accumulation period. So when we look at the price charts, we see that over time, when we zoom out, we've just witnessed another accumulation period while setting a low with another higher low and a third higher low in the structure before a trend reversal back up that we've been keeping you very informed about. Right now, currently still holding that 45K range that we've been talking about. And on our channel, we follow numerology and gematria, and we know Bitcoin gives us 45. So very important. Going back to this Wall Street cheat sheet, we know that there are some altcoins that are looking like this right here in a depression and disbelief, like Zilliqa was just setting a spring and a lower low in the structure before blasting off 100% in a day. And while most people were sad, the uncommon 1% and the pioneers were looking at this opportunity right here as a very bullish and grateful chance to get. So coming back to the great work of Richard Wyckoff and the Wyckoff method that I talk about a lot in my work, and something that I'm going to bring up later when we get into the tutorials and exit strategies of this blueprint course. Again, we have this accumulation and distribution that we want to look to buy before watching the rise, getting prepared to sell. One thing we can do is pay attention to the MACD and the relative strength index, etc. We can look at moving averages, or look at when something is spoken about the most negatively, or when it's spoken about the most euphorically. We know there's moments when China bans Bitcoin, or India bans Bitcoin, or a government wants to put sanctions on a cryptocurrency, etc. We know what happens when we follow the dips. We know they're buying their own dips, and it's based on the accumulation and distribution that's based on supply and demand. And we want to sell into the markup before it goes into the markdown. And we will go over all of this in depth in this exit strategy blueprint, but we'll move on. Step 1. We know it's all about managing emotions. Therefore, we need to manage our greed in the exit strategy. In the euphoric stage of the market cycle, it is always important to manage greed. It can be easy to think my investments are going to keep going up forever and ever. I'm never going to sell. This is how so many investors take advantage of the market unpreparedly when it's near the climax of its distributional phase or its top or cycle, whatever. We know many investors get wrecked and miss the opportunity to sell high. Many people want to buy low and sell high, but it's very hard to act on that when you're following what other people tell you on social media, or you're not learning how to do this yourself. Learn when we're going to have a distributional top or a climax, or when it's euphoric, so you can determine whether or not you need to get out of this market or in this market, etc. It's always bullish on the news. It's always bullish on social media to keep you thinking it's going to keep going. But that is a top signal that is designed to get you into the adrenaline and euphoric stage to harvest your energy and your currency. So step number 2, positivity and gratitude. You want to be grateful for any and all profits made on an investment. Be okay with de-risking and taking profits along the way. This is the biggest step to managing greed. Again, many people think it will go up forever and they don't de-risk. They just imagine that this magical pixie dust will just make them an overnight millionaire. And they make the mistake of putting all of their investments in one basket, or, not de-risking and watching this go right back into a bear market, and they're stuck holding the bag. So it's very important. Once you take profits, remember, making money is making money. That's what you're here to do ultimately. But that's not everything. You are here to start this with a small amount of money and end with the larger. And you only do that with managing greed and being okay with taking profits along the way and not letting your emotions get in the way. Stay humble, pioneers. Getting back your initial investment or taking advantage of selling an investment that is profitable is always 101. All right, still back on step 2, positivity and gratitude. We know most investors struggle with this concept of should I sell or when do I sell during a bull run or a euphoric top. I'm sure a lot of people ask or get asked this question, especially when getting into crypto, such a new and nascent asset class. When do I buy? When do I sell? What should I buy? What should I sell? Just tell me where to put my money. People just don't really know, okay? And this is why I've developed my overall thesis around numerology, gematria, tying it back to the mythologies, around the periodic table of elements, pi, etc. And it's allowed me to do extremely well. So when it comes to this blueprint, I'll share when I think will be the best time to exit this market. For me, again, this is my exit strand that you can hopefully build your exit strand off of. So again, remember that in this exit strand, I will share everything needed for determining the optimal time to sell an investment and taking profits. But words of wisdom, once I sell and take profits, I sit that money and I forget it. I put some of it to work for me, making passive income. The rest will be locked up, earning interest or on a ledger device. Do not worry if an investment continues to go up after you sell. Be smart when investing and always do your own due diligence and research. So step number 3, it's all about manifestation and removing any and all obstacles. That's what manifestation truthfully is. You want to remove what's getting you frustrated and keeping you from getting to your outcome. A lot of people focus on the outcome though. We got to focus on the process and the foundation, you guys, never the outcome. So step number 1, remove the outcomes. What are those? Emotions, fear, and greed. There are great emotions like love and abundance and, joy, but you got to replace your fear and greed with allowing and surrendering. When you do that, it works out exactly how your higher self wanted it to work out. So remove those obstacles, like we stated in the beginning of this. This is all developed off a mindset. Okay? Developing it and managing emotions, fear and greed. Alright? So you don't get caught up when in the most important time in this market, when it's euphoric. So step number 2 here, focus on the process and develop a craft and a skill that you can use for life, and never focus on the outcome. Know your outcome. Manifest it. Okay? It's about tapping your guardian angel on the shoulder and saying, hey, I believe that one day this will be. Now let's make it happen. Okay? Point blank period. So I practice this. Give that a shot. Step number 3, respond and react to everything during this process with positivity and gratitude, with love, with surrendering and allowing. Okay? Hopefully now you see why I've set this up the way I did to start this exit strategy and blueprint guide. Okay? You want to use your time wisely to learn and develop a skill rather than thinking about the outcome. And this is the problem when people get into manifestation or investing, etc. They tend to only think about the outcome. That's all that's on their mind. Oh, I'm going to be a millionaire, or I'm going to have this fancy car, or the biggest house, or going somewhere, falling in love with somebody, etc. They're living in the outcome and not accepting the outcome. When you manifest, you want to accept your outcome. Know that it is here because you already asked, you shall receive. But the problem is people don't do this. And the problem is the process is so much harder than the outcome. See, when you're in the process, you're never in the yesterday or the tomorrow. You're in the now, the present. Therefore, you're present. You open doors for this energy to enter. So that's very crucial. Know that you have succeeded already. Believe in yourself. Trust the process. There's a difference between existing and living. Existence and a life, they're two different things, pioneers. And existence focuses on the yesterday and tomorrow, the outcome. A life focuses on the process and the now. To manifest abundance, you must live in the now and know that you have everything you need already. That's something I practice. I have everything I already want. I have everything I already need. I am in tune with the universe. I am a co-creator. Therefore, the universe will bring me abundance. You never want to be in that lack mindset, okay? It is perpetuated through the blame game, blaming others, etc. Rise above that. Raise the frequency and raise the vibrations, pioneers. Do not point fingers. That's one of the biggest obstacles, okay? That will create way more obstacles for you to hurdle, okay? So, very important. To manifest abundance, you must live in the now, pioneers. Know that you already have everything you need and that you're already rich, you're already powerful, and you're already wealthy. You're living in abundance and not in lack. Another amazing thing to add to your list of manifestation skills. You're a manifestation expert and scholar. Remember, existence and life are quite different. Like I stated before, life is now. So, recap. We have stage number 1, managing emotions, particularly managing our greed and fear. Step number 2, positivity and gratitude, responses, reactions, etc. And we want to respond to everything with love, not fear. And manifestation, removing all obstacles in our way. We're not creating any roadblocks for ourselves. There is no enemy in the world but ourselves. We are our own biggest critic, our own worst enemy. Remember, focus on the process and not the outcome. Awesome. So, when we do this, we respond to everything with gratitude and love, and we evolve, and we raise higher. And this will allow us to become the best version of ourselves. Not only the best investor, but the best that we can be, the change that's needed that we want to see in the world one day. These three steps can be used for so much more than finance. All right. So please understand what I'm trying to say here. By making decisions that serve you, you can lead by example and help your community through your results. When you become the best version of yourself, it influences everyone around you to want to become better as well. So in summary, the process of exiting a market requires the mindset of abundance, patience, and gratitude. And in our next video, we'll be stepping into the planning stage, another super comprehensive breakdown of how we're going to continue on this exit strategy blueprint and guide. So remember, believe in yourself and trust the process, pioneers. You designed it. All right, this is we already stated that tomorrow's life is now. To manifest abundance, you must live in the now and know that you have everything you need already. So remember that, pioneers. Rise, build your legacy, build your fortress.